Hello again, and welcome to another instalment of Speed Sessions here at EC San-Francisco. This afternoon I'd like to take a brief look at this form, used to, and often around intermediate we have to apply this form in our writing, but there are actually two contexts when we use this fixed expression, and as we progress our English it can become a little bit difficult to distinguish, that is, know the difference between the two contexts when we apply this form. The first and most common context, I suppose, would be this right here, to express regular habits from the past. And to do this, we usually apply an infinitive form of a verb after this expression. So, an example might be thinking about my childhood when I was maybe 8 years old. And I might want to inform somebody, tell them about a particular activity that I used to enjoy. So let's go to the whiteboard and we can look at a formula to help us. First we'll take our subject, and this can be anything, but often we're talking about ourselves. So for now, we'll stick with I. We can then memorize this form, used to, remember, again, as a fixed expression. So looking at our formula, we just need to put it down as we see it. I used to. What did I used to do as a child? Well, maybe I used to play tennis. Yeah. I used to play tennis as a child. Again, it's a regular habit from the past. I did it quite a lot then, but now maybe I've stopped. Maybe I hardly ever pick up my tennis racket and give it a play. Okay. Let's take another example. I used to eat chocolate. Again, we have this subject, ourselves, I, used to as a fixed expression, eat as quite a simple main verb, and then our object, chocolate. And we can add information about our past either before or at the end of the sentence. I can say, as a child, I used to eat chocolate. I used to eat chocolate as a child. Okay? So both of these formations are fine. Why don't we look at the second context when we apply this? It's a little bit more difficult. Now, we know that in this second context, we're expressing new forms of behaviour of which we are familiar with. That is, we are comfortable with these new kinds of behaviour, which maybe in the past, a couple of weeks ago, I found them quite difficult. Let's take an example like waking up early. Maybe for a new job you've taken, you have to get up at 6 AM. That's pretty early, isn't it? 6 AM. And towards the beginning, you found it very hard to wake up at such, well, in your standards, or by your standards, an early time. But as the weeks progress, it becomes easier. So you become used to waking up at 6 a.m. Let's look at our formula again, and we'll try and go about learning this second context a little bit more slowly. Again, we're going to start with our subject, and it's always great to use ourselves. So we'll stick with I once again. We then must apply the auxiliary verb of the form to be. So, what is the auxiliary form? It is I am. So, what am I now used to doing? Well, just like before, this is a fixed expression, and we can write it just as we see it. I'm used to. What am I used to doing? Notice, doing. It's got that ing suffix. So, I need a verb, and I need to make it continuous. Okay? What am I used to doing? Well, maybe I'm used to waking up. There's our verb. We keep the gerund, we keep it continuous. A little bit tricky because we have this extra collocation or preposition, should we say, but we have now a new form of behaviour of which we are comfortable with. I'm used to waking up. You can say early or early in the morning. And it doesn't necessarily matter how we phrase this sentence. The point is, it's still functioning as our object. I'm used to waking up early in the morning. Okay? Let's take another example. I'm used to eating a large breakfast. So maybe in the past you were not very hungry when you first woke up. But as the years go by, now in the present, this kind of behaviour, eating a large, big breakfast, you're familiar with it. You are comfortable. So we have our subject, I, the auxiliary form of the verb to be, our fixed expression, used to, our gerund, eating, taking, maybe a present verb and adding this suffix, ing, and then finally our object, a large breakfast. So I hope today has maybe clarified the difference between these two contexts. So just remember, if it was a habit from the past, we're going to plus an infinitive form before our object, or if it's something more recent that we are comfortable or familiar with, and we are used to doing it on a habitual basis, it has become a habit, plus the gerund, that ing. That's all from me. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you soon.